Welcome to Feed Your Lion. I'm Dr. L.I.O.N, and I'm here to aid you in the mastery of total health, spiritual, mental, emotional, physical, and financial. So prepare to have your wellness tank filled up with this podcast. Welcome to another episode of Feed Your Lion. Today, I'm here with my very good friend, Eugenia. She is a family practice physician, and she's going to enlighten us a little more into the world of family practice. So, Eugenia, welcome. Thank you for joining.
Thanks for having me, Jodelle. So good to see you.
This is not her thing, by the way. She is not all about the podcasting, so she's already like over me for this. So I'm glad I got her to come on, though. Anyways, so Eugenia and I, we met back in residency, or not residency, med school. We were in med school together down in OU. It was, what is it now, Eugenia? It was like OU What is it, Heritage something now?
Yes, yep. OU Heritage College of Osteopathic Medicine.
Yeah, so we did the DO program down there, and so we've known each other for a little bit now. How long's that been? What's it been now, Eugenia? Like,
oh, 2006. So yeah.
Yeah, we're getting old, man.
Mm.
All right. So tell me a little bit about your background, like why you did medicine in the first place. Did you always want to do it? Is it something, you just kind of fell into? And then why like family practice from there?
I would say, medicine, my dad's a doctor, and so definitely have the background there. I grew up around it, and it was something I was always interested in growing up. Family medicine, I didn't really come to that decision until medical school started. So first and second year, you remember we're doing classes together, we're studying books, and then we take our boards. And then third and fourth year, when we get to go on the clinical rotations and be out in the hospital and the offices and the clinics, that's when I decided on family medicine.
Yeah. And that's common. I mean, most of us don't really go knowing what we want to do exactly until the rotation side of things. But tell them a little bit about like the length of the residency and kind of, the different rotations you had to do with the family practice residency.
For family medicine, it's a 3-year residency. So that's usually like the minimum length for most residencies that will be in primary care. We get a little bit of everything. So we'll see all the different specialties. We'll see surgical and internal medicine subspecialties, cardiology, nephrology, rheumatology, pulmonology. And then throughout it, we're doing our family medicine clinic as well, seeing our own patients in the residency clinic. So it's a good variety. It's focused on outpatient medicine. There are some family medicine docs that treat patients in the hospital too. But yeah, and I was over at Doctors Hospital for residency.
Yeah, Eugenia's in Columbus, Ohio, and you kind of stayed put afterwards. Did you feel like med school and residency was in line with your expectations, and do you feel like it prepared you well enough? I mean, what do you think? Like when you got out into the real world after all of that, what did you think?
I did feel prepared. In our medical school curriculum, you remember we get every single block is intense. We're getting so much information in those first 2 years, getting us ready for third and fourth year. And I think OU-Com, I felt well prepared going into third and fourth year.
Well, and some people say still today, people don't understand the difference between like a DO and an MD. So touch on that for a minute. Like what was a little different about our experience because some people especially if you go like certain countries, a DO is more of like a chiropractor, not actually medicine. You know what I mean? So that can get a little confusing, I think, for people, but kind of touch on that for a minute.
In the US, there are differences. This is such a good question right now because there's been a lot of change with graduate medical education. But in our osteopathic medical curriculum, we get our class in OMT. So we're doing the osteopathic manipulative treatment, and we're getting training in that throughout our residency as well. So that's something that, in addition, that the allopathic medical schools may not offer. It's, once you get out, I mean, we're working alongside MD and DO, and I had so many, great attendings and teachers that were both, allopathic and osteopathic.
Yeah, I tell people really like we all do the same things. You get the osteopathic manipulative medicine, which is really a great tool. And I know a lot of MDs who wanted to learn it too. I mean, you can use that with so many soft tissue things and everything else. And I've known a lot of MDs who wanted to learn that too. And I tell people, really the only difference besides that is the philosophy is different with a DO. You're more they come from more holistic roots. I don't know that we really like act any different after residency, but I mean, it's supposed to be more whole person versus we're treating a disease, and the philosophy and the roots of it, I guess. But anyways, so you kind of are unique, I think, in the fact that you stayed at one place. I mean, you've been in the same place since we graduated, like, and you seem pretty happy with it. I mean, I know a lot of like physicians, they're like over it, like, and you seem to really enjoy it. Like, why is that? Like, why do you think you've done well with it? Like, what's the job like? All of that.
Where I work, I see patients in an office. I started with this job right after residency because another, fellow DO said, "Hey, we have an opening at this office." And so, first of all, I had a personal connection there,
Yeah.
and then, yeah, just since I've started there, the staff is awesome. The other doctors I work with, really great people, and I've met so many, just nice patients in the past. I graduated 2013, so past 9 years.
Yeah.
I think it can be, common to change jobs, several times in a medical career. I've been fortunate that I haven't, done that so far, and I don't plan to.
Are you gonna be a lifer at this job?
We'll see.
All right, cool. No, it's like talk about a typical like day to day like for family practice. And now you like you touched on you can go to the hospital sometimes and see your own patients when they're admitted in some places, but like in an office space, what's and you may not know the numbers, but like what's typical for like a family practice physician to like carry like patient load wise, like how many patients do they usually have in a day and in general in their like whole thing there?
And that can be really variable. Some will see 1,000 to several thousand in their entire patient panel. In a day, you could go from, I don't know, like 15 to 40 patients a day. That's a lot of, that's a lot of patients to see in a day on the higher end, and you'd have to have extra staff in order to do that and do it well with the quality that you'd want to give.
Yeah.
Yeah, it just depends.
Okay. What do you think? And I didn't ask you this initially. Do you guys do any telemedicine with your patients there?
Yep, ever since March 2020.
I was going to say, I asked you that because I love telemedicine. Like I do a lot of that on the side. I started my own too because I just like, I do so much of it. But it's like, I feel like before COVID, I mean, it was out there. I've been doing it since residency basically. But I feel like really with COVID, um, it came into, I'm going to hesitate for a minute, Eugenia, because that's super loud. Um, but I feel like with COVID, the telemedicine really like just expanded and boomed from what it was. And I like personally love it because I feel like there's so many things you can just do quickly that you don't really have to see and spend like a gazillion, hours charting and doing all stuff. It can be a quick thing. But I don't know. What's your thoughts on telemedicine?
I like it too. I like having the option. In the beginning of the pandemic, we were seeing majority of people by telemedicine just because it was safer that way, safer
Yeah.
for everybody. Now we're mostly back to seeing people back in the office, but to have the option, it
Yeah.
works well for a lot of complaints. And it's easier, it's convenient. As long as insurance continues to cover it, we'll still continue to provide that service. Yeah, I like it.
Yeah. What do you think about insurance and FP? To me, I've from other FPs I've talked to, like, and in general, but I mean, the insurance thing, you brought that up. Like, how do you feel about all the insurance and the hoops you have to jump through? Because I feel like that is sometimes more of your job than actually seeing patients is dealing with insurance and things. Or do you have like people that kind of handle a lot of that?
We have a great staff, but insurance is definitely a big part of our day. It takes up a lot of time to deal with insurances who are fighting us on the medications we want to prescribe, the tests
Yeah.
we would like to order, the services that we would like to get covered. And if we are not, going exactly by what they say, and sometimes they're making it difficult and really adding to our load. So
Yeah, I mean, this is, and I could get on my little high horse here and talk about this stuff. I'm all cash based now, and I refuse to ever do anything with insurance again. And this is just me because, first of all, I think it's kind of taken away from good patient care in some ways because these people who aren't medical at all are making up rules about how you're to care and treat for patients. There's a million hoops you have to go through, even though you know that, hey, this is the right course. This is where we're going to end up, whatever it may be. And sometimes there's a lot of good evidence-based medicine on things that you can't even like use right away because an insurance company stops you. So I have a lot of like beefs with like anything insurance, but I don't know if you probably have figured out how to work around that and be fine, but I don't know. I can't stand anything with big pharma and insurance, to be honest. It's a big like issue to me, but
big headache. Yeah, it's a big time user
yeah,
in our daily routine.
I know. So what drew you to the FP in general when you were doing your rotations? Like, to me, FP is one of the hardest things because you have to know something about literally everything, and people can just they can hit you with anything, and you have to kind of know something about it or at least get them to the right spot. So, like, what drew you to that, and what's some of the rewarding things you found with it?
I like the relationships. I like the connections you make with patients. And,
Mhm.
on a rotation, you're on a rotation in medical school and residency for 4 weeks or 1 month, and then you move on to the next thing. And I'd often be curious about, how a patient would do. Like, I didn't get a chance to see them back again. So that's one thing. I like the longitudinal
Yeah,
relationship you get in family medicine. I like the variety of things that you get to see. It can be challenging. I may not know everything about something that presents in my office, but I get to learn a little bit about each thing. And
yeah,
also just in Columbus, we're lucky. We have tons of great specialists. Lots of good relationships and networking out there, and so we have a lot of support in taking care of our patients. So kind of similar to emergency medicine, you got to know a little bit of everything.
yeah. Yeah, what did I last in? I lasted in ER what 6 or 7 years for. I was like, okay, next thing. But anyways, so you talk about the top like 3 or 4 things you're treating like constantly, what people may not know about that, and like some of the avoidances. I mean, we could talk about nutrition and stuff all day, but as far as like disease processes you see a lot of in family practice, like the common ones.
See a lot of people that come in with diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, high cholesterol, um, people that come in with depression, anxiety issues,
Mhm.
pain, back pain, headaches, any kind of joint or muscle ache.
Yeah.
But yeah, we see a lot of the chronic diseases in family.
How much of that is attributed to bad patient behavior versus like inherited, would you say?
Well, call it bad, but it's a struggle.
I can say bad. I can say it. We all know when we're eating bad and not taking care of ourselves. That people know.
Yeah. I
Okay.
don't know if I could speak to like an exact breakdown because I don't think that we know that answer.
Yeah.
Lifestyle versus inherited predisposition to these different diseases. Lifestyle is a huge part of it, but
Yeah.
I talk to people every day that are struggling. We do the best we can with educating, talking, giving resources, giving information, pointing people to the right direction. We have medications, but, talking about exercise and diet is just part of my daily conversation every single day.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what it is. Like, it's really, even in like the health and wellness stuff, we do a lot of that. And I'm like, it's really hard for people. They want like instant gratification with things, and it's not. And I always like preach over and over, listen, it's like the slow, small things you can do. It's not, you know, trying to lose 50 pounds and 2 months. Like that's not maintainable. Like it's not something you're gonna stick with the rest of your life. But I don't know. It's hard, and I think there's a lot of like snake oil salesmen and a lot of things that aren't really healthy that people are trying to do. Even like I'm sure you're like I'm sure you've had a lot of people come to your office, like the Ozempic, for instance. Like that's like the new craze, like which is great for diabetics because it'll help them lose weight. But like, I mean, I can't tell you how many people have come into my office and they want it for like, I'm going to a wedding in a few months and I want to drop 30 pounds. Like, absolutely freaking not. Like that is not what we do. But I don't know, but people will do that. And I don't know. It's one of those things.
Well,
Whatever.
see, that's where, I'm gonna insurance again makes it difficult because Ozempic is available in it's the same ingredient, different dosage. It's called Wegovy, and that's indicated for weight loss, even if you don't have diabetes. But Wegovy insurance is not they don't cover it very well at this point. I think they will someday eventually, but it's available. Like these things are available. It's just not widely covered yet until insurance says, hey, we'll let you get it generic now.
And I guess I'm from the old school of like, if you don't have that mindset of like, okay, I really want to make a change and do it the right way. Like if you're still in the mind of I'm looking for a surgery or a pill to fix me, like I don't know. I don't know if that's the healthiest way, but that's just my opinion. My humble opinion on the,
I
but
say it takes more than one approach. That's our job is to coach and encourage and educate people about making those changes and inspiring them to do so. Exercise and diet is never easy to start from like 0 to 60, but then, while they're working on that, meds are available.
yep.
So.
Yep. Are you any stories like things that surprised you or that were, just great stories, like anything in the last like several years that you really like took home with you that were just, from the family practice world?
Um, I think especially in the last couple of years with the pandemic and everything, like just how important it is to really respect each other. I have people come in that have questions for me about COVID, vaccines, recommendations, this and that. Many people said, yeah, I want to get the vaccine. They did so. Some people said, I don't want to get it. And I asked why. So I think that just really remembering that you've got to like ask people, listen, and respect their viewpoints. I think that's just something I've really experienced a lot of in the past couple of years.
Yeah. We were on the complete opposite side of that. And we still are, I'm sure. Like that. But see, even like physicians like can disagree. Like, because I was like, this is all bullshit. Like I said it from the beginning. And you were like, you're crazy. And I said, fine, whatever, it's cool. Like, but I'm just saying, like, even physicians, there was like a lot of physician arguments about this subject too. Like, but
Sure.
I think that's the great thing about like we have freedom to talk about those things.
Did I say crazy? I don't know if I said crazy.
You told me I was crazy, Eugenia. Don't lie. Don't be telling lies. Listen. I have to tell you, we got on a phone call with our med school buddies. We all went into like different fields, and I got on there and I was like, this is complete crock. Like this is like ridiculous. I still feel that way to this day. I think I'm gonna write a book about COVID. I think I am, Eugenia. I think I'm gonna do it. And I'm gonna put all my conspiracies in there. But anyways, and every single one of them told me I was crazy. They were like, you're wrong. And I was like, it's okay. I was like, that's fine. I'll take it. I'll be wrong.
I will say this, whenever I talk to somebody that has questions about any of this, I tell people this is what I do for myself, my family, my friends, people I talk to at work, anybody that asks, I'm not doing anything that I'm not recommending for myself, for my kids, for my family. So
that's what I mean, listen, all you can do is say, this is the literature we know, I think the problem with a lot of medicine is the news and media and government get involved in a lot of things they shouldn't with like personal decisions. And that I truly believe that not just on COVID, but in general. I think health and everybody is different. Like we talked about that. Everybody's different. How they approach life's different. How they, make changes is different. And I think, there's not a one size fits all for a lot of that stuff. And so anyways, it's good. It's good. It's good debate. I like it. But your husband, Dan, he's also a physician. Talk about that. Like, what's he do? And like, what's it like being two physician household. Do you guys have a debate in your house too, like this?
I will say it's a lot of support. It's really actually nice to have Dan also be in the same field. A lot of times, he's in physical medicine rehabilitation, so he works with people who have had some anything from traumatic brain injuries to progressive neurological diseases, Parkinson's and ALS. And so it brings a lot of perspective to both of us, I think, the things that we see at work every day. It can be busy. We've got small kids, so it's a balance. But on the whole, it's really good. I mean, the fields that we've gone into enables us to be able to still like have our family time and balance work and things like that. So all this work-life balance that everyone focuses in on the fields that we're in, we are really able to do that. So
Are you both like Monday through Friday?
I am in my office 4 days a week, and he is in his office either 4 or 5 days a week, just depending.
So do you guys do when there's no school and stuff or cancellations, how do you guys do that? Just family? Do you hire like a lot of people have like au pairs and stuff? What do you guys do?
Most of the time our kids are able to go to daycare. So yeah, we both have family, but they don't live nearby enough, close by enough for us. And so yeah, that's what we do most of the time. If needed, I call in if I need to be with my kid on a sick day and he can't go to daycare, then I'm able to do the telemedicine thing from home sometimes.
There you go. See? Um, so Dan for a while though, he got like out of medicine, right? Like he did like business for a while, like right? Like without, or did he completely leave? I can't remember.
He's still in medicine at this point. So yeah, in the beginning, like when he was first starting, his medical job was part-time. He was doing some other ventures at the time. So now it's primarily medicine, but he's going heavy on the home renovations on the weekends right now.
Oh wait, like is he flipping houses?
No, it's our own house.
Oh, he's doing that. Okay. Tell about his businesses because he did like the candle thing, the shirt thing. What did he do? What all did he do for a while?
Yeah, so there was a business, Candles with a Cause. That was years ago. He and a friend had done like a upcycling with like wine bottles and things like that from local restaurants in Columbus, pouring soy wax candles, so clean burning. Did that for several years. And then the recovery drink started as Formula AM. It's now been renamed as Formula O2. His business partner for that has now taken over like all the day-to-day operations for that. So
Gotcha. Okay. All right. So he still got it though. It's still out there.
yeah, still some investment in there, but as far as like his day-to-day, now it's medicine that he's focused on.
Medicine.
Yeah.
So he just had his little joyride. He's back on the meds course, right?
Yeah, and I think in this field, like to find other interests and to find other things, if you're needing to, we got a lot of student loans and things like that to consider, and so yeah.
Yeah. No, I mean, talking about that, like there's a lot of financial myths about physicians, and I can't stand it when people say, "Oh, you're a doctor, you must be doing well." Like that is the biggest crock because, like, first of all, we are in school forever and you don't make any money and you're working double the hours of a normal person, right? So, and you have 12 years invested in that. With no like residencies crap pay. I mean, it's very little, can't even hardly live on it. And then, and you're working 80 hours a week. And then you get out and you have with two doctors, I mean, what's the average? Like $300,000, I think in school debt. Is it three or four, something like that?
Most people graduate with 6 figures of debt. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Like I think the average, I might be a little off on that, but I think it's around 300. So I mean, you start right off the bat when you're middle aged now at, with you guys had two physicians, double that. And you're working to pay all that back. So I don't know. I think there's a lot of like financial myths about doctors and money out there too. Plus, doctors are notoriously bad with like money and spending. And I think by the time you get out, you've done like so much like of the grunt stuff. You're just like, I'm gonna have fun, and then they mess up. So it's the same. You hear that with like athletes and stuff too. But
Yeah, I mean, I think one of the best things I heard as a medical student, two attendings were talking about this. They said when you graduate from med school to residency,
Yeah.
keep living like a med student. When you go from residency to attending, might seem like, you're going to be doing really well, but they say try not to change your lifestyle drastically. Drive the same car, don't get a new mortgage if you don't have to. Live like well within, and just between paying it down and thinking about your financial future, retirement, investments, and things like that. Like there's got to be a balance, I think.
Yeah.
And we could use more of that kind of education in our medical student years.
Absolutely. I say that too. Like, I kind of want to do that. I'm kind of developing a course like that geared towards, um, like physicians, residents, that kind of stuff. That's like financial based, like, and it's geared towards medical people. Cause I think that was a big shortcoming in the, med school training. They said absolutely nothing about business, but a lot of these people are going to go out and like start their own. And we had nothing in that. And I think it would be good to have more resources in med school with that. So I completely agree with you. Um, as far as like you said, you're pretty happy with family practice overall. Is there any like things that you can think of that would, make it a better all around gig, or like things you want to see change in medicine in general?
Yeah, I mean, ideal wish list, just everybody being able to access to good, high quality insurance. We talk about shortages in primary care, it's already happening.
Yeah.
Being able to see patients and give enough time, like nobody has enough time to be able to provide, the high quality of care that everybody needs and deserves. So those are like in an ideal world.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, I think even now there's more and more pressure to see more people and do more in a shorter amount of time. And that's away from the roots of medicine too, because it was all about caring for people. And I think we've moved somewhat away from that. And again, another reason I kind of got out of the traditional route of medicine, but totally agree with that. Well, is there any like misconceptions you think patients have about physicians, or like frustrations like coming from the patient view that you've heard expressed in your office that you can touch on?
I think that to have a really good, like open physician patient relationship, I think patients understand that it's almost like a dating game. Like not everybody's gonna have a good, rapport with every other person. Like doctors are humans, patients are humans. Like I tell people,
Yeah.
if you feel like you're not being heard or your questions aren't being answered, like, don't necessarily feel like you should stay in that situation. I think that, understand that we're human too. We don't always have perfect days, and we have things going on as well. But I think that for the most part, just remembering to just like advocate for yourself as a patient, like ask questions if you feel like something wasn't addressed, like bring it up. Always feel free to reach out and ask and question and push if you need to. So
What's your thoughts on patients doing their own research, doing their WebMD searches, doing, you know, talking to their friends who think they know? Like what, I mean, do you think that people should be kind of doing the deep internet dive on their own things? Like, what's your thoughts on that?
I don't mind. I think it's really good when people are learning and educating themselves, and whatever source that they're using, I'd like to know what it is so that
Yeah.
they can ask questions and I can go on and look and see what they're reading about. And sometimes they teach me something. So when
Yeah.
people say, well, I know you don't like when I do this, and I say, what, I doesn't bother me. I just want us all to be on the same page. So it's it's something I hear as well on occasion that people do their, and I think it's fine. I just do think that they shouldn't take everything they read as like gospel necessarily, or like what their friend recommends, or even like everything that's coming from me. Like it's okay to question. I think it's just good to communicate to your doctor and just let them know everything that you are taking, what you're thinking, what your thought process is.
Yeah. Like there's been kind of a shift away from uh parental, like doctor tells patient, patient does it, to more of like a relationship patient doctor, where you kind of discuss and like you kind of work out a solution together, I think. And I do think that's actually a better philosophy. Like I do agree with you there. I've learned just as much from patients, especially going into the health and wellness. They'll bring up stuff to me and I'll be like, really? I've not heard that. And I'll look it up and there's like good literature on it. And it's something I've never heard of. So I actually think it's good, especially like there's a lot available now. And it wasn't like that back in the day. We didn't have all this like, research and studies done that are just available to anyone back in the day, or that they written so they could understand, So I think it's good too. I agree with you on that. But anything else that you want to add or share about your experience in family practice, or something we didn't really talk about?
I mean, I think we covered it pretty well, but yeah, it's a great field to be in. It is something where you really kind of have to know yourself and just know what you're comfortable with and what kind of relationships you'd like to develop with people, whether it's the people that you see as patients, the people that you work with, and then your own family and friends too. But I think it's a
Yeah,
great
absolutely. No, I agree. And like I said, I'm really glad I actually got you to come on here, Eugenia. You're the first one of our group from med school, and I'll tell you guys I'm gonna get them all on here because we all went into different specialties. So you're the first one of the group. You committed and did it, and I'm very happy that you came on here. And as always, we'll end with our quote, and our quote is: the good physician treats the disease, the great physician treats the patient who has the disease. And that's William Osler. So thank you, Eugenia, for being on here. We do appreciate it.
Thanks for having me. Great to see you.
You too. We'll see you the next time, everybody.